dear tutoring classmates. I am Elena Sofia Leal Lozada, and this is my lesson planning for this activity. So this is the unit 3 and text 5 about materials and lesson planning. This is an individual activity and is presented for my tutor Dina Constanza Cruz and is for the course Teaching English to Adolescents and Adults. Let's start with the presentation of the activity. So here we can see the lesson planning number 1. This plan is designed especially for teenagers, where it emphasizes the use of technical tools to make the class didactic, and the activities promote a significant construction of knowledge. According to what was learned in the current course of Teaching English to Adolescents and Adults, the lesson planning is a significant element of teaching learning system. It is like a step-by-step guide that provides structure for essential learning. Before planning a lesson, it is essential to classify the learning outcomes for the class, and it's important because it helps the teacher in maintaining a standard teaching pattern and doesn't leave the class divided from the topic. And in my opinion, the planning helps the teachers to be better equipped in answering questions asked by the students during the class. And according to several authors, an effective lesson plan has 3 basic components, that is, aims and objectives of the course, teaching and learning activities, and assessment to check students' understand of the topic. And in this case, we have this lesson planning that the level according to the CEFRL is pre-intermediate and is A2. The learning strategies is keyword method, summarizing, group discussion, reciprocal questioning, and the Moody's point techniques. The topic is about comparative adjectives, and the activity objectives is the student will be able to convert adjectives into compared form by developing various activities. Students will be able to compare 2 or more things for acquiring new vocabulary and interacting with their classmates, and increase the ability to recognize and use comparative adjectives in everyday sentences or situations, and put into practice the linguistic skills of each learning. The time for this lesson is 3 hours. And here we have a little explanation about the topic of comparative. When we talk about 2 things, we can compare them, and we can see if they are the same or different. Perhaps they are the same in some ways and different in other ways. We can use comparative adjectives to describe the difference. There are 2 ways to make or form a comparative adjective. In short adjectives, we can add er, and the long adjectives we use more before to the adjective or the word. For example, America is big, but Russia is bigger. I want to have a more powerful computer. Is French more difficult than English? And in the image, we can see that short adjectives are clean, cleaner than, safe, safer than, big, bigger than, pretty, prettier than. The love adjectives are expensive or more expensive than, and the regular adjectives good or better than, and bad, that is worse than. In the wrap-up of the activity is done to give a little introduction to the subject without getting too thoroughly explain the topic. This is why it is done an entertainment way, and the game called Tingo and Tango is used to make the students participate and give their comments on the subject. The resources in this part are video bean, notebook, ball, computer, board, pen, eraser, and pencil. Then we have the presentation. It's about explaining the topic to the students through a short introduction. Then we can give to the students some examples, and in this case describe the function to make the topic better explaining, and the teacher can show this video that is in the YouTube and make to the students some questions. And then finally, the purposes is to have a good pronunciation in the response. In the practice, once the subject has explained, the students should develop the following activity. This activity is online in the Google Drive, and the teacher can prepare the photocopies and then share with their students. And in the end of the activity, the students have to send to the teacher the photocopies and develop completely, marking with the name and date. For the production part, I decided to design a role play where all the students have the opportunity to participate and learn to work collaboratively. And in this case, the theme or the topic, was that the students were going on vacation, and each group had to create a store where they offered several products for the clients that were going on vacation. The methodology is simple, and the teenager students have clear instructions on what they should present and how to do it in front of the whole class. The materials for all the lesson plan is notebook, board, markers, photocopies, paper, study scripts, pen, eraser, pencil, dictionary of English, ICT, that is audiovisual equipment such as computer, video beam, speakers, internet, games, and group dynamics. The assignment is this, and it's simple and consists of developing 4 exercises that put the linguistic abilities to the students in operation and help them to learn the subject in a meaningful way. Okay, here we have the second lesson planning 2, that is for adults. The level in this case is the same, A2, and the learning strategic version, that is summarizing, reciprocal questioning, pre-teaching activities, dramatizing experience, simulations, problem-based learning. The topic is about superlative adjective, and the objectives is understand and practice superlative interactivity through different activities that promote meaningful learning and use of languages skills. For sentences with superlative adjectives and the correct grammatical structure, identify and learn new vocabulary, give and receive information in response to the questions, and promote cooperative or collaborative activities and fellowship. Okay, the number of the student here is 15, and the time is 3 hours. First, the teacher can explain the subject, that is superlative activities. We know that superlative activities express the strength or highest degree of a quality. We use a superlative adjective to describe the extreme quality of one thing in a group of things. And we can use superlative adjectives when talking about 3 or more things, not 2 things like in the comparatives. Superlative adjective, there are 2 ways to form a superlative adjective. With short adjectives, we can add est to the final of the word, and in a long adjectives we use must. And we also use to add the at the beginning. For example, in short adjective, we have all, fast, happy, easy. When all is the oldest, late is the latest, big is the biggest, or happy, the happiest. And in long adjectives, we have modern, that is the most modern, or the expensive, that is the most expensive. Okay, here we heard the word amp, that is about 15 minutes to introduce the subject into a didactic way through the students are already adults and a little more serious. The game that design tries to take into account their likes, and thus get them out to the routine and go beyond just to use the computer. And in this case, the dynamic consists of taking some pieces of paper from a cup, and according to the color, the students must participate or it can be saved and that another partner doesn't need him. Each student create his own description and share it. Then all three exercises that introduce the topic through reading and development of punctual exercise on superlatives are given from the teacher. The second is the presentation, where the teacher explains the grammatical function of the superlative adjective and give examples to the students. Here, the teacher gives a small tag or lecture on the subject, then explain through an image the subject and makes them creative by themselves some sentences using superlative adjectives. In the practice, once the subject has been explaining, the students should develop the following activity. That is an online file that is in the Google Drive, and the teacher have to the student a photocopy, or the students can have the opportunity to send to the teacher's email. The collaborative production focuses on the use of linguistic skills through the creation of a collaborative dialogue, in which each group must choose a topic and from that create a dialogue in which to solve a daily situation. This activity takes place over an hour and allows students to lose their fear of speaking in front of the class and using the target language. The materials are notebook, board, markers, cup, photocopies, paper, color, object that is a cell phone, study scripts, dictionary of English, and ICT that is computer, video beam, speakers, and internet. Here we have the assessment where the students must develop 5 relative short exercises that help them deepen their language, their knowledge, and clarify doubts. If you want to see more about both lesson plans in a complete way, you can download the file in the link that I leave below in the description box. Okay, as a conclusion, a teacher with a plan then is a more confident teacher. The teacher is clear on what needs to be done, how, and when. And the lesson will tend to flow more smoothly because all the information has been gathered and the details had been decided upon beforehand. And the teacher will not waste time flipping through the textbook, thinking about what to do next, or running to make photocopies. The teacher's confidence will inspire more respect from the learners, reducing problems, and maybe helping the learners to feel more relaxed and open to learning in a significant way. So this is our reference, and thank you so much for watching my video, and see you in the next opportunity. Bye dear tutor and classmates.